Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm hoping you all had a good week. We heard from Linda the other day. She said she got a hold of her go-between and she got information about Jesse Elvis that he was having a hard time with his voice. I'm not sure if it's just hoarse or unable to speak or whatever. So just keep him in your prayers. And yeah, we're going to continue our chapter on mystery singers and songs, and mostly about Orion, the Orion singer this evening. All right, so I'm going to check comments real quickly and I'll say hello to some people here. Hi, Barbara. How are you tonight? I gave Jim the link. If he joins us, that'll be great. If not, I'm sure he'll catch up with us sometime or he'll watch it later or whatever. Hi, Sandy. How are you tonight? Hi, Gary. How are you tonight? Hi, Purple Green. I'm doing okay. I'm a little kind of under the weather a little bit, but I'm here. I don't know about Jim. I don't know how he's doing yet. Wish I could send a message to us like with Linda. I know, right? I wish too. But maybe someday, I know at Christmas time that message board will be open. We could send them all the wishes we want. We'll do the best we can. All right. Hi, Judy. How are you tonight? Orion Girl 8. How are you tonight? Okay, so Orion Girl, how are you? Okay, so all right, we're going to pick up where we left off last week. It was we were just talking about Jimmy Ellis, and the question remaining is, was he a front to Elvis? Now I'm just going to let you know that on Linda Hood Sigmund's truth.com, you will find there is a tab. I believe it is under this one. All right. There is a tab, but then I'll say Orion, basically like Orion connection or something on that idea. In that, underneath that tab, there's all kinds of information about the Orion pictures and the Orion singer. And when she had asked Jesse Elvis about the Orion singer, he admitted to her that he sang some of the songs for Orion or as Orion. We just don't know which ones. He never identified them, but he did admit it. So at least we know he did admit it. And also in Is Elvis Alive, I had covered this in this book a lot about Orion Singer as well. And he called her up as Orion and told her about being a twinless twin and all that kind of thing. And when she approached Jimmy Ellis had no idea about the phone calls. So we know that there was some prior information and prior videos that have covered the Orion singer. So today I'm going to go over Jimmy Ellis pretty much, and then we'll share some songs every so often, and you guys can decide if these songs are Jimmy or Elvis. But they sound alike in a lot of ways. But I'm going to put on the PowerPoint from the past videos that I had done. It'll give us some kind of picture in our minds about what she is talking about here. So I'm just going to use this little PowerPoint for this. Well, let's see. Hi, Jim. How are you tonight? Glad you could join us. Okay,
Doing
so
all right.
tonight we're covering Jimmy Ellis. All right, one of our favorite topics. Okay, so I'm going to start reading because we got quite a bit to read, and then we'll discuss. Right. Okay. So here we go. I think we'll just go with. She asked, is Jimmy Ellis related to Elvis Presley? Is Jimmy Ellis a front for Elvis Presley? Are there two voices on the Orion albums? Are there two Orions, two masked men, one possibly Elvis himself? At one point, Ellis did, now this is Jimmy Ellis, did admit to her to Gail that there were two Orions, and he did not know the identity of the other. In a recent interview, he said that there was but one Orion himself. Okay. Ellis quitted the Orion persona, the mask, and went back to singing Jimmy Ellis. Okay. So in the late 1989, he put the mask back on and became Orion once more. It works, he has said on the radio shows and in print. Plus, people know I am not Elvis, that I am Orion. Elvis did not wear a mask. This separates me, creates interest and mystery. The mask is my trademark. So there is a known picture of Elvis in a mask. It's amazing how much the two men resemble each other in masked pictures. Now, I don't know if I put that on here, but I think, no, I didn't, but that's okay. Anyway, on the thumbnail that I had made, there are some pictures here on the thumbnail. And there's one with Elvis in a mask, believe it or not. Actually, it's on the beginning of this video. So she's kind of referring to that picture. All right. And it was like a hand-drawn picture with Elvis in a mask. But anyway. So several years ago, I received a phone call, she said. Turn on the TV. My neighbor said, Jimmy Ellis is on Nashville Now with no mask. His hair was white and light gray, and with his hair that color, he was a dead ringer for Vernon Presley. Now, a lot of people have said, and there's a possibility, that he could be an illegitimate child of Vernon Presley. We don't know, but the birth certificate of Jimmy Ellis and his mother's name was Gladys Bell. Father's name listed as Vernon, no last name. My neighbor was right. The resemblance was amazing. Remember, Elvis dyed his hair black because his mother and his father grayed prematurely. So later in the conversation with Ellis, he admitted to me, yeah, a lot of people told me that. She asked him, are you related to Elvis? He laughed shyly, not that I know of. You sound more like Elvis at times than Elvis. Jerry Schilling told me that too, Jimmy revealed. A more personal Elvis connection is reinforced by the fact that members of Elvis's family welcome Ellis warmly. He has never denied this. Yet I met Elvis's Uncle Vester in 1988. I asked him if he knew Orion. He said he did. Jimmy Ellis has been here many times, he asserted. Ellis recently told me that it was only once. Yet a closer, more frequent association of Ellis with Elvis seems to follow from the facts that Ellis was adopted by the Ellises in Alabama. Ellis is the name of the Memphis auditorium where Elvis performed in February 1961. Elvis's biological mother was Gladys. Elvis's biological mother's name was Gladys. So they both had the same first name, but the last names were different. Elvis's first Sun recordings were Blue Moon of Kentucky and That's All Right Mama. Elvis's first Sun recordings were Blue Moon of Kentucky and That's All Right Mama. One of Ellis's California shows was choreographed by Jamie Rogers. Earl Brown did his arrangements and Bill Belew designed the costumes. Elvis NBC TV comeback special on December 3rd, 1968 was choreographed by Jamie Rogers. Earl Brown did some of his arrangements and Bill Belew designed many of his costumes. So she's kind of showing you that the same people did the choreography, excuse me, I can't speak today, between Elvis and Jimmy Ellis. They had the same choreographer, the same costume designer, the same names. So both Ellis and Elvis have had business connections with the name Loeb. Orion's Ellis Sun recordings were Smith Productions. Smith is Elvis's mother's maiden name. Probably not really much of a connection since there are many Smiths out there and it could have been any Smith family. But it's still kind of interesting. Ellis owns a horse farm property. Elvis owned a horse farm. After Sun Records, Ellis's label was Aaron Records. Aron is the correct spelling of Elvis's middle name. So despite all the above, Ellis denied not only any biological relationship to Elvis, but told me that he never met him. However, it is the duets Jerry Lee Lewis and Friends album of 1978 that raises questions that presuppose the Ellis-Elvis connection. I received a letter in 1988 from a TV interviewer who wrote that he had called from the Columbus, Georgia viewer stating a man in this area was told by Jimmy Ellis that he again had been invited to Graceland 2 months prior to August 16, 1977 to meet with Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis. This was, of course, before my novel Orion had been conceived. Recall how in Is Elvis Alive? I outlined a controversy surrounding the 1978 Sun Records release, the duets Jerry Lee Lewis and Friends. Well, everyone who heard the Friend with Jerry Lee said it was Elvis Presley. Please note the following biography, which appears in the encyclopedic volume Elvis, His Life from A to Z. Okay, so this is a biography of Jimmy Ellis. Born in 1945 and died in 1998, I believe, or 1999. If I'm wrong, Jim, I'm sure you could correct me on that. The singer who had, for a time sang under the alter ego Orion, Ellis was born in Washington, D.C. on February 26, 1945. He was an excellent voice, and as Orion recorded a number of records that sounded very much like Elvis. Shelby Singleton of Sun International decided to disguise Ellis's identity on the first Sun single, It's All Right Mama, leaving listeners to speculate that the songs might be alternate takes of Elvis's first two songs. Instead of listing Ellis on the label, Singleton printed a question mark. Ellis's first album appeared for Sun, which, was as an unidentified singer singing a duet with Jerry Lee Lewis on 10 tracks in 1978 album Duets. Now, the picture of that album, you can get these actually like a picture of the albums right here. You can get that whole album of Jerry Lee Lewis and Friends on iTunes. You can also find it on YouTube as well in video form. Many people make little videos. I couldn't give you a sample because of copyright, but the songs sound just like Elvis. There's also another album called Killer and the King album, which came out in 1982, I believe, with more songs that sound just like Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis, and it was called Killer and the King. So Charlie Rich sang along with Lewis on 2 other songs. Again, the speculation was that Elvis had sung the songs, particularly Save the Last Dance for Me. In 1979, Jimmy Ellis finally emerged with an identity, but it still wasn't himself. He appeared as Orion Eckley Darnell, a character created on August 16, 1977 by Marietta, Georgia housewife Gail Brewer Georgia. In her 1978 novel Orion, told the story of a rock and roll singer very much like Elvis who faked his own death. On Orion's 1979 album, Reborn, Ellis appeared on the album cover wearing a mask over his eyes. The album featured some excellent songs, including Ebony Eyes, Honey, and Washing Machine. Now, Linda Hood Sigmund might have a copy of Washing Machine. It's on her. She also has a channel on YouTube. You can find it. She does have copies of Killer and the King album on her channel, so you could check that out if you want. I believe this is her channel. If you look that up, you can find the songs there. I think she might have a copy of the Washing Machine, but I'm not sure. They sung in the style that Elvis would have sung them. Listeners of Orion were initially split into two camps. Those who knew that Orion was Jimmy Ellis, just having some fun sounding like Elvis, and others who sincerely believed or wanted to believe that he was truly Elvis coming back on the scene after faking his own death. As Orion, Ellis reached Billboard's country chart with 9 singles. For those who still insist that Jimmy Ellis is not Orion, Ellis has publicly admitted at being Orion. So Ellis left Sun Records in 1983. A fine talent in his own right, Ellis in 1978 recorded the song I'm Not Trying to Be Like Elvis. And the album By Request, Ellis sings Elvis. So those 2 albums he had sung. So note, the above discusses the fact that Jimmy Ellis is supposed to be a friend on the duets Jerry Lee Lewis and Friends. But then, what about the 1978 article that syndicated columnist James Bacon wrote asserting that Elvis had told him personally that he had cut duets with Jerry Lee, of course, prior to 1977, of course. And what about the flip side of this album, where at the end of the song, what I'd say, you hear Jerry Lee at the back of the studio saying, "Man, you're ready tonight, Elvis." And of course, it's faded out. Now you can hear that loud and clear on Linda's version of the song. Okay, so perhaps Sun Records put Jimmy Ellis on the duets track and even had Jerry Lee say what he did as a sort of promotional ploy. Then what about Beacon's nationally read article, which warrants reprinting? It was entitled Elvis Debate Continues. The mail won't stop on that column about Elvis Presley of a few weeks back. You know, the one that said Elvis was a mystery singer on the Jerry Lee Lewis record, Save the Last Dance for Me, from the Duets album. It was also reissued underneath Killer in the King album with Jerry Lee Lewis, 1982. So far, I have word of Elvis himself from Red West, a member of Elvis's Memphis Mafia, and both said Elvis just went into Sun Recording Studios in Memphis and did it to help out an old friend. Elvis said he was unbilled on the record for a good reason. He was under contract with RCA at the time. This probably happened sometime in the 1960s, and Jerry Lee was not talking because of the contract situation. One letter from Fresno says the record is a Jerry Lee Lewis hoax, and the singer is trying to get the public to believe it's Elvis. That's hard to believe because Jerry Lee Lewis is one of the big names in the country music, and he doesn't need hoaxes to get his attention. Another called it a hoax to promote an Elvis imitator, Jimmy Ellis. This letter says Ellis overdubbed the original Jerry Lee Lewis recording and will make a big announcement soon. Most of the letters came from Elvis fans, who all say that the king himself was on the record. One writer comments, "There are dozens who can sing like Elvis, but no one pronounces the words like him." I have played the record 100 times and I know it's Elvis. Of course, there is a group that refuses to believe Elvis is dead and his death was a hoax. These people all believe it's Elvis on the record, but that it was recorded since Elvis died. What I don't understand is how anyone could insist that the record is a hoax or that it proves Elvis is still alive. After all, Elvis himself admitted to me that he did the recording with Jerry Lee Lewis. That eliminates any chance of an imitator. And since Elvis was still very much alive at the time he told me about the record, it's obvious the record was cut before his death was reported and thus does not prove a thing. So she's saying, why am I still confused? Because Sun Records says it was Jimmy Ellis on the Duets album, whereas James Bacon says that it's Elvis. All right. So I'm just going to give you guys a clue here where it says on this particular article that's in next to this album cover. This is an article that Jerry Lee Lewis was quoted saying, what people don't realize is how smart Elvis was. He knew when to pull out. I didn't, Jerry Lee Lewis said, was quoted. This is also, it says Jerry Lee Lewis, 45, May feature Presley. All right. So the Duets album sounds a lot like Elvis, but so does the Killer and the King album, which I did not put on here for some reason. I did not put the pictures on here. So anyway. Okay. So at the end of the chapter, I offer a final selection of the letter extracts, which came to me from fans who had information to contribute about the singer who used the name Orion. From Michael D. of Mansfield, Ohio, I heard, in your book about the book, you raised some damn good questions. About 1981, my parents took me to see Orion in concert. Ellis did sound a lot like Elvis, and after the show, some members of his band were invited to my motorhome for drinks. Orion's bus was next to ours, and he was inside wearing a robe and his mask. Even then, I had a feeling that Elvis was alive. Then I noticed someone else on the bus. He was dressed just like Orion. Then he quickly ducked into the back of the bus, and I never saw him come out again. Two Orions. Welcome to the Twilight Zone. I didn't think much of it then, but now it explains a lot of things. From Janice R. of McMinnville, I can't say this, Tennessee. I had, when the masked Orion appeared at my hometown at the McMinnville Civic Center, I felt Elvis could be alive. Even when Orion performed on stage, I felt it was different man from the masked man who signed the autographs. You see, I was close to both men, even kissed one by one on stage. He was sweaty and hair out of place and had a different look in his eyes. The one signing autographs had no sweaty clothes and every hair was in place. A lapse of time of maybe 10 minutes, not enough time to shower, get every hair in place, and change into fresh new identical jumpsuit of blue. Sarah I. of Law, Kentucky wrote, I asked Orion backstage, do you think Elvis is alive? He looked at me and started smiling. He asked me if I thought he was, and I said, I asked you, trying to get a comment. He finally said, no comment. From Gil B. of Springfield, Missouri, came these words: I know both Elvis and Jimmy Ellis. I have been with both on the same day. I know what took place at Sun. I spent the last few years waiting for someone to pull the plug. I did not, nor do I want to be the first one to do so, but if I ever write about what I know, you will read a book like you never read in your life. You think there are two Orions? I say there are three. Okay. And all have been at Graceland at the same time. Someday, if I can ever feel I will not hurt anyone, then maybe I can tell. I do not know who the third Orion is. Okay. So on November 22nd, 1988, came a letter from Robin S. of Bellflower, California, that I would like to repeat in full. I have read with great interest your book Is Elvis Alive? The mysterious character Orion and the singer Orion. I have come across something you might find interesting. I was doing some Christmas shopping a couple weeks ago and I ended up in a record store. What led me to the store, I don't know, as I hadn't any reason to be there. Anyway, they had their Christmas music displayed, and I was drawn to one in particular, Christmas Time to Elvis in 1935, dated 1977 from the Jordanaires. I looked at it to see if there were any songs sung by Elvis, as I have at least 20 Christmas albums in general and really didn't need another one. This album contains 23 songs, 8 of which were sung by Orion. The album was dated after the death of Elvis Presley. Why would Orion be on an album from the Jordanaires to Elvis? I couldn't wait to play this at home. My husband and I listened to it together and went right to the Orion songs. We both agreed that if the person singing wasn't Elvis Presley, we weren't alive and breathing right now. I called several friends, played it, and asked who they thought it was. Without fail, everyone without any hesitation thought it was to be Elvis Presley. Several said they had to have it, but it isn't to be found in the stores in our area. Finally, a friend found it and bought a couple copies in cassette form. She asked me to listen to it. When we opened what appeared to be the exact same thing, it was, with one exception. The Orion songs were not in on the tape. The tape contained only the songs by the Jordanaires. Everyone who has read your book listened to the tape with Orion. And who knows of the tape without Orion? Thought that I should write to you. I find it all so very puzzling. Another mystery. Possibly some copies of the cassettes do not contain the Orion songs. My cassette does contain them. An artist rendering of the Master Orion and myself was sent to me by a fan. Okay, so this is a picture. I'm hoping it comes out of the picture that was drawn. And that's the end of the chapter. So, all right. So I guess on the back here, in the background here, I have a picture of the original Reborn album cover right here on the bottom. Oops, anyway. And then there's a picture over on the other corner, a picture drawn with Elvis in a mask. And then up top are, I believe, both of those are Jimmy Ellis in a mask. But I can't really tell. But anyway, the hands look different to me, but I could be wrong. All right. So now I'm going to do this. Let's see. Uh, Hi Jim, welcome back. I noticed you disappeared. All right. Oh, good. I said hello to all these people before, so I'm just going to do it. That's not Elvis in the background. Okay. Hi, Purple Green. They're all saying it's good to see you, Jim. Hi, Coral. How are you? Wow. Another Australia. I think we've had 4 people or so that follow our channel from Australia. Purple Green, and I believe Jesus. What am I calling? I can't remember it. Michelle. Has anyone seen Riley's short film named In Process? It's her and her friends eating, drinking, playing, swimming, all at Graceland. It was just featured on the. No, unfortunately, I did not. Did you, Jim, see that? I didn't see that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I know we lost somebody in the group, I think, this week too. Well, not this week, but this past month on Facebook.
Yeah, Barbara Rogers.
Yeah.
She'd been friends with Elvis damn near 50 years.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, just a couple of days before she passed, she wrote him a letter.
Wow. That's cool. I know
You
some.
know, I really wonder because she had no family or nothing. That apartment place where she lived told Tony the other day when she called about it that if nobody claimed her stuff, they was going to clean her apartment out. And she got all kinds of letters from Jesse, all kinds of stuff Jesse had sent her and everything.
We only got to talk to her a little while on the phone one day, and it's just too bad that all that stuff is gonna go bye bye
Yeah.
unless maybe somebody can have it sent over to her or something. Well, I'm glad you like this reading. I did my best I can. I have a reading disability, so I have a hard time pronouncing some words. So I'm sorry, guys.
What?
You're sitting on the remote.
We live in a beautiful country. Yes. Yeah, it's very beautiful here in the United States, too. Right now it's summer. I think in Australia it's winter right now. Last time we heard from the go-between, he's okay from his stroke, but he's dealing with voice problems. I'm not quite sure if it's hoarseness or not able to speak, like as in like maybe slurred speech from his last stroke. I hope his voice gets better too, so he can call her because she's getting nervous. He hasn't been able to call her. No headband. I have one of these today. Sorry. As far as a headband. Hi Norma, how are you tonight? Yes, there was 2 Orions. One was Jimmy, one was Elvis. So I'm gonna give you guys a sample in a minute. Who I think is who. I'm doing all right. Stomach's playing tricks on me, but I'm doing all right. How are you doing, Jim?
I'm doing all right. You know that album you was talking about a while ago where Jerry's at the end in the fade out saying what he said.
Yeah,
That was only on the shelf for about 3 weeks, and they pulled it off the shelf and re-released it, and they took it off there.
yeah, yep. I have a copy of the Killer and the King album, which is like the 1982 version. And it does say on the Elvis tapes that he did record older songs and had fun recording older songs. And it could have been a mix of different ones. It could have been the ones with Jerry Lee Lewis, and the Silver Northern ones, and so on.
Yeah,
It was
I don't remember what album that was that had him at the end and fade out saying that I've got the album, but it's not here. I got it
uh,
stored.
it's
I
under
can't remember which. Huh?
it's underneath What Do You Say? The song What You Say. It's
I know, but I don't
underneath
remember the name of the album.
Jerry Lee Lewis and Friends or Killer and the King. It's on both.
I think it was Killer and the King.
Yeah. All right.
You know, on the inside cover of that album, you read the article where that Tweety guy, he used to be a producer for Elvis, and he
Yeah.
talks about the unknown voice on that album, and he wouldn't say it was Elvis, but he said it was a rock and roll icon from the 50s and 60s.
Right. I do have a copy. I do have a copy of that. I'm not sure where it is, but I do have a picture of it. All right. Jesse, never mentioned Jimmy Ellis's murder. No, but he was murdered in cold blood, and he's buried in Alabama. Yeah, he wasn't recording anymore as Orion. Was it 1999? Was it 1998? I think it was 1990.
98.
Right, 1998.
Yeah, and the guys that killed him, they had no motive to kill him, and then they find out later both of them was mafia members.
Oh wow. So it's a possibility they were looking for Elvis and that thought he might have gotten information. And that's too bad.
That's what I figured. They probably trying to get some information from him, and he wouldn't give it up.
Yeah. The weird thing is he kind of mentioned to his ex-wife who worked with him at the time that he kind of had this foreboding that something was going to happen. He was going to get killed.
Yeah,
So
because they shot him.
he might
They
knew about it.
they shot Jimmy a couple years before that, and he lived.
Yeah. Yeah. So this year can be done already. I'm sorry, that's never good. Unfortunately, this year's not done yet, but we'll pray, Chanel, that you have a better half the next half of the year. We're only halfway through. So we hope that it gets better for you. We'll pray that you are that you get comforted. Now, I lost a couple friends too this year, so yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yep. Well, we know Uncle Vester had told many people that he wasn't in the grave, and yeah. Okay, so I have a couple music things here I'll share with you guys. Oh, good. I'm glad you finally found me, Julie. I'm not sure. TG theory? I'm not sure. I don't know what the TG theory is. Do you know anything about that? No? All right, so we have two different samples from the New Beginnings album. One I think is more of Jimmy sounds more like Jimmy. The other one sounds more like Elvis. You can listen to both and you can decide for yourselves. This one I think sounds more like Jimmy. It says old time rock roll.
Well, the guitar burning like whiskey at a hundred proof. It was the old time rock. It was the old time roll. It was the old time rock. It was the old time roll. It was a groovy little sound that rocked me to my soul. Yeah, play my song.
Okay, so that one sounds like Elvis to me. I mean, that one sounds like Jimmy to me. I don't know, Jim. What do you think? Did that one sound like Jimmy to you or Elvis?
That right there was Jimmy.
Okay, so this one I think was Elvis.
Well, we've been rocking around the clock since 55. So let the good time roll one more time tonight. And when my hair starts turning gray, you're still gonna hear me say, you're never too old to rock and roll.
I don't know. You think that's Elvis or you think that's Jimmy?
I don't think it's Jimmy. It don't sound like Jimmy.
Okay, and that sounds like Elvis to me. You don't think it's Elvis? I don't know what TG stands for. You don't think these are Elvis? Okay, that one or that one? I don't know. I think they were two totally different singers on these songs.
That's what I think. Two different singers. I'm not going to say one of them's Elvis, but I know that second one ain't Jimmy.
Okay, Barbara says that's Elvis. Okay. What's the rumors going around here that Jimmy Vernon was Jimmy's father? I think the reason why is because he looked a lot like Vernon. I'll give you that picture again so you guys can look at that. Okay, so the one on the left obviously is Vernon. The one on the right is Jimmy Ellis, and they do look a lot alike.
I got some pictures that looks better than that of them compared.
Yeah.
I got that one too, but I got some more of them side by side. Yeah, they do look alike.
But and on his birth certificate it only says Vernon. It doesn't say Presley behind it, so we don't know for sure. And the funny thing is both mothers, Elvis and Jimmy Ellis's mothers, their names were Gladys, but one was Gladys Smith and the other one was Gladys Bell. Okay. That was Elvis. Okay. Yes, that sounds like an older Elvis, number 2. Right. So the first one, Old Time Rock, is definitely Jimmy in my ears. You're never too old to rock and roll is Elvis in my ears. But I've listened to Elvis a lot on Elvis music, on Elvis radio, so I kind of just, and the way he says roll, it sounds like soul. The way he says roll and soul, they're very similar. And that's me, though. Okay, anyway. Wow, definitely father, son, in my opinion. Right. But we don't know. We don't have any paternity test. And of course, we'll never know because no one ever asked, but it's rumored. And we can't really go by, we don't have, DNA. And there's no way of getting DNA from dead people anymore. So, you can go by pictures only. Anyway. Was who talking about earlier, famous country singer. Right, okay. Well, you had that theory. I don't know, you were talking about, okay, so that means T.G. Shepherd theory? I don't know. Yes, their noses are different. Of course, don't forget the hairline is a little different. But, what year did Gladys die? 1958. Elvis's mother died 1958.
Yeah, 58.
Was an obsessed fan from Virginia named Alan Dimrod. He tried to snatch Jimmy's mask on stage in Circleville, Ohio in 1991, only to be tackled down by security. That's interesting. Okay. The Ellis estate issued a restraining order against Alan Demerod and holds still today. Wow.
I got it all on my house.
Hmm. Remember that Vernon used to go out and down to the gate and flirt with the gate girls. My source from Peter Gerlich's book. Yeah. That's a possibility. He could have had many affairs. That's not impossible. Okay. First was Jimmy, second was Elvis. Yes, I agree. Okay, so the other one I had that I debated on was Lay Around and Love on You. Now, I think Linda had mentioned on her site that Lay Around and Love on You, the LP version was sounded just like Elvis to her. And there was another version
Yes,
from
she said Jesse admitted to doing that one.
right, okay. And Jesse admitted. Also, she also said that Crazy Little Thing Called Love was sung by Elvis. And I
And
firmly
what
believe it was. Huh?
she also said washing machine was him.
Right. And Long Tall Sally for the Rockabilly album was definitely Elvis. And I'm going to say a lot of other songs by Orion on a lot of the other albums. Turn Around and Look at Me sounds a lot like Elvis to me. A couple other songs that are recorded sound a lot like Elvis to me. Okay. Yeah. A splitting image of Vernon. Exactly. Well, I think Elvis looked a lot like his mother. So, he has some Vernon, but especially in the chin line. Okay, so I'll do one more. This one is Lay Around and Love on You. Well, the thing is, I just wanted to say something about this video. When I do play it, one is going to be the LP version from New Beginnings. The other one is a version from James Ellis' album, late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there. So the first part is the LP version, the second part is the Jimmy Ellis version, and you kind of can tell a little bit in the style of singing.
It's Monday morning and it's 6 a.m. Time for me to go to work again. Hey, all I wanna do is lay around and love on you.
And this one is the Jimmy Ellis version.
It's Monday morning and it's 6 a.m. Time for me to go to work again. Hey, all I wanna do is lay around and love on you.
Okay. So the first one supposedly is Elvis, and the second one is supposedly Jimmy. They're very close, but if he admitted it to Linda, I don't know. Let's see what else we get. Did they catch the person that killed Jimmy Ellis? I don't know. Did they?
Yeah, they caught two of them. It was two people.
Okay. I know they said they made it look like a
A robbery.
robbery. And they took the everything out, the cash register and everything. So the same voice did not eat. I don't know. I think the first one has more of a punch to it. But like I said, it's all a matter of listening in your ear. That's hard. There's all the information out there. How do more people not know about Elvis still being alive? Or is it just very tight-lipped secret in the music industry? Okay, so first of all, it's been common knowledge for a while now that Elvis is alive, but it's everything is tight-lipped in NDAs, especially people that he comes in contact with. So there's certain people that will never
Yeah,
ever admit.
and then you got idiotic fans that believe everything they see, like that crap in '77. Anybody with their Mr. Magoo could tell that wasn't Elvis in a casket.
Mm, right. So I'm gonna say that with all these books out now, we got this one especially, "The Truth About Elvis Aaron Presley in His Own Words." Um, this book is written by the man himself, you know. So this has been out since 2001. So it is out there. And it's all over a website that's in 2 parts. I mean, huge website, Linda Hood Sigmund's truth.com. That's all on there too. So all the evidences are on there, including DNA, handwriting analysis, voice analysis, and all other kinds of evidences, including handwritten letters from Linda as well.
It's like handwriting analysis, like the letter to the Attorney General he wrote. Started making it was his handwriting, and he testifying quarterback. He worked for the FBI.
Right. Your live is good as always. You're doing an amazing job. I'm glad that I finally caught the live this time. Yes, the live is always on Saturday night, 8 o'clock, unless it's thundering out. Then I will tell you guys ahead and schedule it again. I usually put it in the community section if I do, or on a short. On Facebook, I usually do a post on Facebook if I'm not on. Maybe you need a new battery, a hearing aid. Oh, you? I don't have any, so I don't know. You think so? I don't know about that one. I think it's the other way around, but I could be wrong. He could have done as Ellis James. You never know. Like they said, he could have sung songs for Ellis James, Jimmy Ellis, on his albums, and just Jimmy was his front guy, his face and everything. You Joy, do you think Billy, Joe, and Danny have met him again, and they're covering? Okay, so I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that I firmly believe that the family knows that he's alive, but they are bound
Yeah,
by NDAs. They cannot and they will not bend from those NDAs. And that's the way it is. So they're going to always say the image is dead. And of course, Jesse Elvis wants to remain private citizen, doesn't want to be bothered, does not want to be hounded, does not want to be found. But he knows that, he wants his fans to know he's still around, but he doesn't want the frenzy anymore. I don't think he could handle it anyway if he was found. I mean, his health is very frail. Okay. Even President Trump said Elvis is alive while running for president. When President Trump awarded Elvis a Presidential Medal of Freedom, he said Elvis has left the house. Yeah. The first one sounds like Elvis. Yeah, I believe that too. I could play some more of the song if you guys want me to. Let me know. I can finish it if you want. President Trump didn't say Elvis has left the building. Could have been Elvis who was actually at the White House. No, he wasn't anywhere near the White House at the time. I believe he said, I know he mentioned to Linda something like some safety reasons or things like that. No, he wasn't able to, and none of the family got it either. I think it was EPE that went. He was honored, but he didn't go. For safety reasons and other things. Like I said, I think he wants to remain private, doesn't want the notoriety, and definitely would not be on camera or anything. That's what I thought Elvis is somewhere. Wants quiet life peacefully in private. Yes. And now that he's dealing with his health problems, you know, he had a stroke last month or the month before, a small stroke, and he's dealing with voice and speech. And I also believe he's in a wheelchair. I don't think he gets up much out of the wheelchair. So we lost Jim again. All right. Yeah. He is a fan of Elvis's, yes. Does Jesse watch YouTube, this YouTube channel? Sorry, I'm new and I just have questions. Elvis saved my life, so I'm a diehard fan. Okay, so all right. As far as I know, he knows about this channel. He's had one episode sent to him from Linda Hood Sigmund. And that was the real life encounters with Jim here, my friend. I think it's on the live stream tab if you guys want to look at that. Real life encounters part 2. That one was sent to Jesse Elvis. He calls himself Jesse. But that one was sent to Jesse Elvis, and I think he has seen it. And the reason why she sent it to him was because Jim has a picture that was sent to him from Jesse Elvis signed in the back, and he signed it to Jim and his wife, his kids, and he mentions Linda and Tom in the back of the picture. She saw it and she wanted to thank Jesse, so she sent him a picture. Yes, we've heard of him, but he is not Elvis. He is an impersonator, a pastor, and likes to.
And a con man.
Yeah, Jim calls him a con man, but you know
That's all he is, a damn con man.
at
Preacher
least
my ass. If he was a preacher, he wouldn't let that crap go on.
he is an Elvis tribute artist. I'm gonna believe that, but he's not Elvis. And he has denied it quite a few times, including Linda to Linda Hood Sigmund. Hi, Michelle. That's from Elvis, a Daily Verses and Prayers. I couldn't remember the name of your channel. How you doing tonight? What? No, he's not. He's not in a wheelchair, that's for sure, and he hasn't suffered a stroke recently. So we know he's not. All right, anyway. PE does not want anyone to know he's alive. It's all about money. Exactly, Judy.
Exactly.
It's all about money.
That's exactly what he told Dr. Hinton. He said,
Right.
they don't give a damn about me. It's all about the money.
Right. They don't want him to know. Also, they don't want to be found out because then they're going to be in trouble for fraud.
Their cash crop will go bye-bye.
Yeah, and fraud. They'll all go to jail. You know?
That's
Bob
right.
Con. Thank you, Jim.
He's a con man.
Exactly. I agree. Jim is funny about Pastor Joyce. Yes, he is. Look who's here, Michelle. We missed you a wee bit. How you been? Anyone remember Bill Bixby special? Yes. Yeah. We do cover some of his stuff. I don't have all of his, but I do have some of his Elvis files. I have covered that quite often on some of my lives. Totally agree. It's all about the money, for sure. Exactly. He's up walking around, preaching, singing, dancing, walking.
Well, that's just like all them clowns saying he was at Lisa Marie's funeral. He preached Lisa Marie. That's bull crap. The day of her funeral, he was in Arkansas preaching himself.
That's right.
Liar.
Right. No, he said he was not there. He said it.
Yeah.
He he has explicitly said, Bob Joyce, I was born
And I'll
Bob
just,
Joyce, I'm gonna die
and
Bob Joyce.
I'll just
Well,
tell you my opinion. I'll just tell you my opinion of them idiots that think he's Elvis Presley. They're not fans. They're morons, is what they are.
yeah. Okay, let's see. Does anyone know the last time Elvis was at Graceland? We don't know. I mean, he could go to he can go, but I'm not sure if he goes recently or not.
He ain't went recently. He's
Holidays.
in too bad a shape.
Yeah. But I'm gonna say, I mean, this last time probably was a couple years ago, maybe. When he was a little better. Right now he's more from what I understand, he's hurting big time from arthritis, what's it called? Neuropathy, stroke, illness, that type of stuff. Aging.
Yeah.
Yes, she died in January. Rest in peace, Gail. Johnny
Oh,
Harris
Johnny.
is gone too. Johnny Harris is gone too. I don't know if maybe you're asking me on the third Orion person, as he mentioned 3 people. I don't think so though. He was a ETA, a wonderful. Uh, he was
Yeah,
just an
Johnny was
ETA.
good. I'll give him that. He was pretty good.
Yeah, and he was very good at like an old, the older Elvis in his 40s.
Yeah.
BB and Elvis
Talk
are.
about BB King.
I guess so. I'm not
I
quite
know
sure.
BB King and Elvis was real close.
Yeah. Night. God bless Joy and Jim managed to stay awake at 2:30. Oh my goodness. Well, good
Good
night.
night.
Didn't Johnny hear a star in the movie? This is
Yeah,
Elvis.
he played in that. This is Elvis, but they cut a
Yeah,
lot of his stuff out. He's in there, but they cut a bunch of it out.
yeah. DBJ only got a beautiful voice. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if he
Med.
does med bed. So I don't know. I know
Ain't
he,
no such thing as a med bed. All these people keep talking about a med bed. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit that ever come along. Med bed my ass. Look it up. There ain't no such damn thing as a med bed.
I'm sure he has alternate. I'm sure, Julie, that he has a lot of. He has really good doctors, and he does a lot. He has a lot of pain relief, and I'm not sure he doesn't prescription anymore. I don't think he does safe pain relief, and probably alternative medicines too. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Johnny Hara passed away in 2011. He
Yeah.
lived in Texas. Correct. Yeah, he was a really good ETA. Another favorite ETA for me was my brain is just not working today. It's not coming. Anyway, there's a couple good ones. I think
I'll tell you one good one. Bill Sherry's a real good ETA.
yeah, Bill Cherry.
Dean Z's pretty good.
Yeah,
Cody
that's
Ray
true.
Slaughter. Oh, Cody Ray Slaughter. He does an awesome young Elvis.
Yeah, I like Dean Z. That's who it was. I think
But
my brain.
I guess Cody's got a right to because he's a cousin to Elvis just like I am.
Yeah, another one that does ETA is Jerry
Jerry Presley.
Jerry Presley.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elvis Presley Jr. Yeah. You put an A in a med bed, Jim. Okay. Comportability. Okay. I don't know. Ronnie McDowell suffered a stroke
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah, he had a stroke. He was on stage when it happened.
Wow. Isn't he related somewhere too? Isn't
Yeah,
he like a cousin or
he's
something?
the first cousin to Elvis, and what people don't realize is Elvis's actual name should be McDowell because his grandpa was not named Jesse Presley. His name was Jesse McDowell. That's how him and Ronnie's related.
Right.
But Minnie Mae gave all of her kids her maiden name.
Right. Not Minnie Mae. It was the other. Minnie Mae didn't. It wasn't Minnie Mae. It was the grandmother before Jesse Presley's mother.
Yeah. Anyway,
Great
she
grandmother.
gave she gave all her kids damn Presley name.
Maiden name
That's how about it.
her kids were illegitimate, so they got
Yeah.
her name instead. I heard a story about Elvis participating in the Elvis tribute show and competition in the 70s and receiving third place. Is this a true story? I thought it was second place. Yes, he participated
it was second place, and it happened after he faked his death.
Yeah.
I thought, imagine that, beat the man himself.
What was he? Do you know what year that was? I know he told Linda that, but I'm not sure what year.
I don't remember what year it was. But
yeah, so he did pose as an ETA. We just don't know what he used for a like a what you may call it, an alias name.
Yeah.
Like the ETA's name, but some people said he did a stint as Johnny Hara, but I don't know
I don't know about that.
The videos I've seen of Johnny Hara, I don't think so. And Ronnie's recovering well. Cool, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Answers, Jim. Can you tell us a story about Elvis since 1977? Oh my word, there's so many darn stories. Jim, why don't you just tell Rindy about your experience with as a meeting Elvis?
Oh, I'm 19. It was either 81 or 82 in Arizona. Me and my dad went to the store about 1 o'clock in the morning, grocery store, all night grocery store to get something for my mom. She had the flu, and walked in there, and there was Elvis and 4 of his bodyguards over there, and my dad introduced me to him.
Yeah. And you were the
I
first
wasn't
one to
really
see
old.
him, right?
Huh?
You were the first one that noticed him, though. And then
Yeah, I noticed him first.
Yeah.
And I told my dad, I said, that guy looks like Elvis.
Yeah. All right, so here we go.
Because in his book with Dr. Hinton, he tells about places he lived, and out there in Arizona where I met him, he mentioned that place.
Jim, are you familiar with Desiree Presley?
I know of her. I don't know her. I know of her.
Yeah.
And no, I don't know if she's his daughter or not.
Yeah. We don't know. We don't know if he's ever said anything. All I know is I
do know Eliza Presley, when she first started tracking that stuff down, her DNA and all that stuff, she thought Elvis was her dad till she conned Donna Presley out of some DNA. She stole some cigarette butts and did the DNA. Will come to find out, Vernon was her father. Her mother lived right across from Graceland.
Right.
So she's Elvis's half sister. Remember, she's the one that Linda was talking about. Sent that figurine or whatever it was to Elvis, and the go-between found it, and it had a tracking device in it.
Right. ETAs do nothing for you. I'm sorry to hear that, Orion girl. My wife and I saw Dean Z in Branson, Missouri last week, and he was fantastic. Yeah. I've seen videos of him, and he's just awesome. He's like one of my favorite ETAs.
I'll tell you something else about old Dean. I sat and talked to him for about 45 minutes down at Graceland that year. He's a hell of a nice guy. Really good. Really cool dude.
Yeah, and you said you saw him coming out of the mansion.
Yeah, he was coming out the stairs, out of the back of Graceland, from upstairs, down the stairs, outside, coming down, him and his wife, when they come over where I was sitting.
Right. Was that the same year you guys saw when your wife almost got dehydrated? and a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
was the same
women
year.
couldn't visit.
She was sick then.
Hmm. Yes. And he was watching you guys from the window
Yep,
upstairs.
yep. And I know he was there that year.
Yeah. So are the Hoods and the
Yep,
Presleys related?
yep,
Yeah.
yep. And that's something else. Linda Sigmund, her maiden name's Hood.
Yeah. Well, we're not sure if they're related, but it could be a possibility somewhere along the way.
They probably lured it down the line somewhere.
Yeah. Hi, Bren. How are you tonight? Don't they see the real deal? Dolly Parton said on the morning TV interview that Ronnie would stay in the back of the band during the concert and sing if Elvis had a bad voice or throat. Really? I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't
Ronnie's
think
good.
so.
Let me tell you, Ronnie's good, but I don't believe he's that good that he could do the singing for Elvis.
No. I mean, I'm gonna say something though. If he did use somebody else as a as far as I know, reports have said, especially in If I Can Dream here, that when he had to leave the stage in the middle of a concert to go to the bathroom or whatever, because he had problems with his colon, he used to have his backup singers and the Stamps sing some songs. The Sweet Inspirations would sing some songs, and then I think Charlie Hodge would sing some songs while waiting
Yeah.
for him to come back.
Oh,
Like they
oh,
would fill
Charlie.
in.
Oh, Charlie was a pretty good singer.
Right. He used to fill in for him, while he was in the bathroom. So I'm not quite sure if he ever had anybody who sang in the back
Yeah.
and he would
The other
lip sync.
day,
I
Joy.
think that would
The other
be it.
day, the other day, Joy. Me and Christy was listening to Elvis singing on YouTube. There, it was an older. It was back in the early '70s. He was singing there, and then you hear a voice in the background. I could tell the minute I heard it. It's J.D. Sumner, that old deep voice of his. He was singing backup for him there.
He had a real deep voice in him. And he did like How Great Thou Art, and he would sing like he'd get up to that high note, and then all of a sudden you hear JD go like that. It's like wow. He would like
Yeah,
mute because he'd be like
I
Elvis
seen
would
him
love
and
the sound of it.
I seen him and old Elvis on stage together, and they was having a contest who could get the lowest. Those Elvis couldn't even reach what JD could reach. So JD could get down low, boy.
I hope Ronnie will be okay as well. Lucky Jim spotted Elvis. Yes, like I said, one of our friends had passed away over the past month. Her name was Barbara. Um, and she was in contact with him. She had note letters written by him and gifts from
Yeah,
him, and
he was always
talked to
calling
him,
her and stuff.
talked to him on the phone. He did three-way calls with Linda and her. Yeah, great stories. And she also said she saw him coming out of the car one day or something in real life. Spotted him at Graceland as well, or something like that. Things like that. It's too bad. What year did Elvis ever have plastic surgery? Well, we know he had it in 1975, according to Billy Smith. I'm not sure
He
if he
had
had
that
any other plastic
he,
surgery after that.
he had that nose job in '56 when he started the movies. They wanted him to have a
Right.
nose job because he had a big wide nose to start with, like Johnny
Right.
Hara had. But and then he had some more done after he left, but I don't know what all they did. They didn't do a whole lot because
Well, according to the Elvis and Memphis Mafia, Billy Smith had told them a story about possibility of having a body switch, and he talked about
yep,
um that Elvis had chin work done for a double chin or whatever. He had like the extra skin done or whatever. And he found a guy who wanted to get plastic surgery to look like him and switch his body. That's what they did. So he had it then, and I know he had it afterwards because he states in his book right in here that he had plastic surgery and he wasn't happy with it. He kept getting recognized even with plastic surgery, and he wasn't completely happy with it. So we know he had plastic surgery, but we just don't know when. Afterwards, he was always changing his look. And I heard he looks like really, he doesn't look that bad now either. Still today. So. Who should be looking like Elvis? My friends.
Oh yeah, he did have plastic surgery. You're wrong about that.
Well, is that what that means? Yep, he did. He had plastic surgery. Good. I'm glad you're doing good. I thought I saw Jesse in Michigan when I was there in 1980, but I don't think he was there then. Must have been a look-alike. That's not
Where was you at?
impossible.
Where was you at in Michigan? If you was around Kalamazoo or Saginaw, you might have saw him because he did spend some time up, or he still spends time in Saginaw.
Yeah. He was spotted in Kalamazoo though in 1988, so it's a
Yeah.
possibility he was in Michigan quite often. I know he also said something like Ohio, Missouri, all kinds of areas. He moves around a
Yeah.
lot. Oh yeah, he knows he's still loved. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Elvis in concert CBS special needs to be released officially. Both shows from June 1977 should be out for all fans to see. I thought the special was already on YouTube. You can watch it YouTube, the whole show.
You know, the 26th was the anniversary, 48 years since he did his last concert up there.
Yeah, I thought they released that already. I don't know. I know they're releasing some concert footage or whatever that was never been seen. I think it was a Prince and the Planet or something. They're supposed to release that soon. The new movie or something coming out. Unseen footage or something. Yeah. Baz Luhrmann is releasing a new movie this year and all about missing footage from the documentary Elvis on Tour. And TTWIS. Yay! Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be really cool to see. Been said, better late than never. I'm here. Well, hi, Rita. I'm glad you can make it. Surgery, if you're pretty, but if you're ugly, well, right. Well, like I said, he changed his look so people wouldn't recognize him. So he did a lot of plastic surgery. I also think he had his eyes done because the Jesse picture, his eyes aren't as like droopy or heavy. But I mean, he could have had his eyelids done, his cheeks done, his nose done, lips done, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there. Put my glue in that.
Elvis had plastic surgery many times, yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, that's like that photo of him with Ben on the mower. If he'd have
And
dyed his hair black, if he had dyed his hair black before he took that photo, everybody and their brother would know who he was.
yeah, he could have easily had plastic surgery while he was doing Orion too. Give himself look more like Jimmy Ellis. Yes, it's not impossible. Oops. Sorry, Leah. Play catch up. Busy day for us. Hope all is well. Well, as far as I'm concerned, everything's okay. Why is it 26 so important?
That was at that 26th of June was when he did his last concert, the
Right.
final one.
Also, I think June 26th was very important because I believe that was 2 plus 6 equals 8.
Yeah.
The numerology. Also, wasn't that June 26th the same day Vernon died as well? Did I remember correctly?
Vernon died in January.
No, June, I
Uh,
thought.
uh, no, Vernon, let me look. I don't remember, but I thought he
Yeah,
died
June
during the winter.
26th.
Hang on.
And you mentioned that numerology involved in it. Anyway. And he died. He died 6 months too early, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, he died on the 26th of June,
Yeah.
79.
And wasn't that Colonel? Wasn't that the Colonel's birthday as well? Or am I wrong?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Something to do with it. It was the number 8. I know that the number 8 was important.
I don't like to talk about Colonel Parker because I'd like to grab him and slap the piss out of him the way he treated Elvis.
Right. He had a lot of plastic surgery. Linda Thompson writes in his book that she stayed in the hospital with him when he had his eyes lifted, his eye lift. In 74, 75, his eyes look a little different. Yeah. And he also probably had another one done in his 60s or 50s because when you have hooded eyelids like he did, they tend to get, when you get older, they tend to droop and hard to see. He also probably had a lot done with his eyes done too. For his glaucoma, we don't know that for sure, but I know, I think Billy mentioned that he had his chin done as well. And he asked Billy, "How you like the look of my chin?" And he's like, "I don't see anything different." He just had like double chin removed or whatever from his weight. But Elvis was very, I want to say, he was a vain person. He wanted his face to look like good all the time. His looks was important. Elvis's last concert, Pepper's birthday, and Vernon's death, I think, are all June 26th. If I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Anyway, I wish Elvis would have done A Star Is Born. Yeah, can you imagine what that would have been like for him? He would have gotten an Oscar for that if he had done that movie. But it wasn't meant to be. He
You
had
know, you're
mentioned
talking about.
something to He had mentioned something to Wanda June Hill about that movie, and he said he didn't want to do it because he didn't want Lisa to see it when she got older, or something on that idea. I don't know. Maybe there was some scenes in it that weren't appropriate. I don't know.
You know, you're talking about Colonel Parker. When old Parker died, he'd already told Linda that Parker had been sick. And when Parker died, he called Linda and told her before it ever come out on the news.
Elvis never needed plastic surgery. He just needed to get off those awful drugs. I'm going to say one thing with you about that. He was on prescription drugs. Some of it was for his colon because he had a colon problem and he needed to be on a steroid, and that's what made him swell. It's the steroid.
Yeah, 'cause
And it
He
looked like
didn't mess with illegal drugs.
he did not, let's just say this. He did not overdose on drugs. He did
Nope.
take sleeping pills and he did take stimulants to wake up and drink coffee, but he got off of those. I think what he was addicted to was prescription drugs, which could have been painkillers.
Yeah.
But
But
most
hell,
but
you
most of
know,
the swelling and the edema was from his colon steroid that he was taking.
he told Linda that when he left, he found out after he left that his spine was fractured in two places. That was causing a lot of his pain right there.
Right. I think he had mentioned in his book here, well, the doctor did, said, I'm going to just repeat this. So people that haven't seen this, I do have the whole entire series of this book. If you guys haven't seen it, under the Truth Book, it's under the labs. You can watch it anytime. It says that there is a lot of evidence that said Elvis had chronic medical problems because of the use of steroids for his bowels. He suffered from compression fractures in his spine from the steroid, caused by the steroid. So the guy with a fractured spine needing steroids, not feeling good, he needed colon surgery. He needed a piece of his colon removed, and he would need a colostomy bag. Now, Elvis would never walk around with a colostomy bag.
especially on stage.
We'd never do that. So, he had to do what he had to do. But what they said was in the 1974 alone, from January to October, he performed 136 shows with a fractured spine, touring, dancing, performances, and so on. And never has anybody done that ever again. So he was the only one that ever did those 2 shows a day for X amount of days. So that was crazy. So he was on a steroid that caused fractures in his spine. So he wasn't as addicted. He wasn't, let's say, abused of drugs as much. What he did was he took too much of the steroid so he wouldn't have an accident on stage.
Oh yeah. You know, he told in his book that Dr. Nick was having him eat big old half a gallon of ice cream every night and taking steroids to put weight on him to make him look bigger than what he was. They was playing a part, getting ready for him to take off.
That too. But he also said something in Wanda June Hill in the book here that it was all fluid backup.
Yep.
And that's all because of his colon.
Well,
He had so much fluid backup.
You know, Joy, he told me one time, he said, they're in 77. He said, I was so constipated. He told me, he said, I couldn't take a crap. He said, I went 2 or 3 months at a time without taking a crap. He said, so I was literally full of shit. That's what he told me.
Yeah. So
He told me, he said, I was miserable.
And he also said in his book that if he hadn't did what he did, he wouldn't have been alive past 1 year after.
I don't believe he'd have been here another year if he hadn't quit.
I firmly believe that he might have set it up where it made him look like he was on a lot of drugs to make it look like he OD'd or whatever for, let's say, the death hoax. But I really honestly don't think he took a lot of medicines. He said if I had taken all the drugs they said I took, I wouldn't be around.
Hell no.
Another thing that is a discrepancy, especially in what they call the toxicology list of medications that was given to ABC in that report, had one particular medication that Elvis was definitely allergic to, and that was codeine.
Codeine. He took a codeine
other medications that were known to take care of cancer patients, and Elvis didn't have cancer at that time.
He told me he ended up in the hospital from taking a codeine one time. He said, ain't no way I take a codeine. That's just like that list of prescriptions they supposedly found in his room. Had codeine listed on it and all kind of. And that's what he said. He said, I wasn't taking all that. He said, a lot of that crap, he said, them boys around me was taking that shit.
Lord, them things are loud.
Right. So, plastic surgery was for a disguise after faking his death. Yes, he also had plastic surgery before that, too, because of many reasons. He wanted to look good and all that kind of thing. They call drugs, but that's Elvis's medication. Got so few illnesses. Yeah, Elvis was pretty sick. Well, I know he was on. It's revealed he was on pressure medicine. He was on cholesterol medicine. He was on, like those types of medications. He was on sleeping pills because he had a hard time getting to sleep.
You
Um,
talk,
and he
you
was
talk
on
about it.
a steroid and a
You,
pain
you
reliever.
talk about you talk about him being on cholesterol medicine. I can imagine. I seen his cook it used to cook for him all the time. She did a video. She said, "I'm going to show you how Elvis liked his peanut butter and banana sandwiches." He took them sandwiches. He wanted her to use a whole stick of real butter for each sandwich. I'm surprised he didn't die from blocked arteries.
Well, he also, I think he also said, I think Wanderton Hill said that he had diabetes and he was on medicine for that,
Yeah.
like, pills or something. So I don't think
Oh
he
yeah,
was
he,
taking
he got
or
he got a lot
overtaking
of
any bad drugs like that.
he got a lot of hereditary stuff. He got diabetes. He got heart problems. He got the same thing on his heart that I got. Heart failure and a damn bad battle in his heart. He got he got all that high blood pressure, bunch of that stuff. Glaucoma in his eyes.
He's very, very fortunate that he's still around and alive right now.
Yep. Ah, it's like I told him, Joey.
Yeah,
He told me one
I,
time. He told me one time back when he was in his 80s. He said, "I don't know why I'm still here." He
uh,
said, "I don't know what God got planned for me." I said, "He ain't got nothing planned for you." I said, "I can tell you what it is. He blessed you with a long life for what you did for humanity."
probably. I believe Vernon had multiple heart attacks. Yes, he did.
Yeah, that's what killed Vernon was his heart.
You had a friend that knew Parker and she didn't like him. Well, I don't think many people did like Colonel Parker. Elvis did not need eye surgery in 1975. He had great eyes, sexy bedroom.
60-bedroom eyes.
Right. Well, I think he also probably altered his eyelids for a reason. We don't know reasons. Like I had a friend who had like an eye condition and her eyelids got really like heavy. She used to have like bedroom eyes too. Very big eyelids and they would swell up and then she couldn't see. It was hindering her sight. So then they reduced her eyelids down, the plastic surgery, and now she can see and everything. So it's a possibility, you know, that he had that done for reasons. Who knows? He had a lot of hereditary health problems. Yes, he did. Very impressive eyes that talk. Yeah, very expressive. So I'm glad Elvis did not do A Star Was Born. Right, right. Lisa inherited, yeah, the twisted colon as well. I'm not quite sure exactly if that was the problem or if it was something to do with her. They said her surgery she had on her stomach, but it's a possibility that she inherited that. Elvis needed those drugs. He was not a true addict. Right. I think the only thing he probably was an addict for was at the time, because in the 70s, I don't think they had drug rehab like they do today. It would be um, hydrocodone or whatever, addictive pain medication.
Yeah.
Possibility, but also the steroid was a pain medicine as well and controlled his bowels. So it could have been a
Well,
side effect. Who
he
knows?
he was he was still eating pain pills like M&Ms when him and Dr. Hinton was
Right.
associating.
He was,
That's why Dr. Hinton got in all that trouble over them pills because he supposedly I don't remember how many thousands of pills he prescribed him, and they was gonna go get all three of them. They gonna get Dr. Hinton, they gonna get Jesse, and they gonna get Linda till Jesse sent that letter to the Attorney General. That shut the damn investigation down, and Hinton got his license back.
Yeah, I think the drug. I think the problem that he had was a addiction to pain medicine, which could be
Yeah,
just as bad as but it's prescribed. Whatever happened to Dr. Hinton? Dr. Hinton is in Missouri still. He
yeah, he's still
practices in
practicing.
Missouri. He's still a doctor. I don't think he's retired yet. As far as I know, I heard he moved like last year. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Noise is so irritating. Well, there's background noise. I'm sorry. Anyway, steroids sound terrible, but some people do need them to take them. Yes. Now, I'm not sure if the steroids were for, but they were too. They did something for his colon. I'm not quite sure exactly what they were for, but it could
They
be
also
pain, it could be swelling.
steroids also bloat you up, make you look fat.
Yeah, that too. That's probably why he looked bloated.
Yeah.
Miserable. Parker made Elvis do 3 shows a day, and Elvis should fired Parker. Should have fired Parker in 1973. Probably, but he was very loyal to Parker, and when he did
Yeah,
fire Parker, he got a bill that he couldn't afford.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say he fired Parker, and Parker handed him $8 million bill.
Yeah, so he ended up taking him back. And I think if he didn't, I also firmly believe that if he had gotten rid of Parker, he would not have been able to get away with what he did. Because he shouldn't hear that Parker was a mastermind behind the whole
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Because Colonel Parker did it
Oh
before.
yeah. Let me tell you something. Don't say nothing negative about Parker around him, because he'll go off on you real quick. He'll tell you, I don't want to hear it. And he'll tell
Yeah.
you real quick, I love that man.
Orally, I'm thinking Elvis took oral medications, probably.
Yep.
Oh my God, 2 or 3 months without a bowel movement. That could be very toxic. Yes.
Yep.
And you wonder why he looked so horrible in that program. He was telling Wanda June Hill he was ill. He was like, it said, the image is killing me. Because if he hadn't been the image and he was just a normal everyday person, he would have got the colon surgery. That was it. He had like no way of saying, he couldn't say back then, I'm gonna retire because I'm
Yeah.
ill. He wouldn't have
Well,
been able to retire.
you can tell by looking at him at that last concert, that poor man was sick. He was miserable. But I will say this, that voice never wavered. That voice was still there at the end.
Right. That part about him gaining weight is also a Joel Gilbert document. Yes, it
Yep.
was. And he said that he purposefully gained weight because the guy that had the plastic surgery where he did the body switch was heavier than him. But when the guy died, he wasn't heavier than him because obviously cancer patients lose weight.
Yep.
He was a cancer patient. So prescription medication helps with illness treated for, but they cause other problems, and I myself take meds the rest of my life, causing all sorts of other issues. Correct. Right. Understand. Elvis had to do what he had to do. I do not blame him one bit. Exactly.
Nope.
And we should know that his life was not easy, and it's still not easy today. It's very difficult for him. Antibiotic, is it good or harmful?
If you overtake it, anything's too much. You overtake it.
An antibiotic is good if it's prescribed, taken correctly, and you are not allergic to it. The minute you are allergic to it, it's very harmful for you. Main thing is he really is he's really still with us at the moment. Some things are as plain as day. Correct. Any medication does something else. Yeah, and there are side effects to medications too. It can
That's
cause
why I
many.
quit. That's why I quit taking any kind of medicine. because they give you a pill for something, it causes side effects, and then you go back to the doctor and he wants to give you pills for the side effect. Before you know it, you're carrying a damn pharmacy around with you.
Hey, I'm not sure if diabetes causes glaucoma. I know that diabetes causes bleeding of the retinas. Um, I'm not quite sure on that. It might, but then glaucoma is also like by like hereditary. Like my mom and my dad both had glaucoma, so I'm due to have it probably when I get older. Or hearing aids, same thing with hearing loss.
And I imagine Elvis got that from Gladys' side of the family, because Christy, she's kin to Gladys, my wife, and her sister's got glaucoma.
Right. It's a miracle he's still alive. Yes. And also don't forget the hot lights from touring could do a job on your eyes. And he had blue eyes, so I mean anything could affect the pressure in your eyes. He's here and all his family and his friends still love him. Yes. Back in the 70s, doctors didn't want to operate on Elvis's twisted colon. They didn't want to be responsible for possibly killing Elvis during surgery. Okay, and I'm also going to say this is Elvis refused to have surgery on his colon as well. They did another procedure to untwist his colon. That helped a little bit, but he refused to have colon surgery because they would have had to remove some of his colon and he would have had to have a bag. And he didn't want Elvis, the image, to be carrying around a bag everywhere or on stage or even strapped to himself.
Remember how embarrassed he was that time on stage when he crapped his pants? Had to go off stage and change suits. He was pissed.
Yes. And he said that to Wanda June Hill too. And he had an accident and he did not want another accident. So that's why he took too much of the medication, the steroid, to help him from stopping having a bowel movement or diarrhea or whatever it was. And that's what was the problem when he took too much of it. So he did take prescription meds, but he took too much of it out of fear of having the image tarnished by crapping his pants on stage or whatever. He was I want to call him vain, right? That's right. Regardless, Elvis is around, period. And just keep him in your prayers because he is old and he is dealing with effects from his stroke. So, those of you that joined late, message from Linda was her go-between. Told her he's doing okay, but his voice, he's having problems with his voice. I'm not sure if his voice or his speech. It could be both. Stroke victims usually have problems like that, so let's keep him in your prayers. Poor Vernon looked so much older than his 63 when he died. Yeah, he looked pretty old. I don't know. Jim, have you ever met Priscilla?
Nope.
Never met Priscilla, and he doesn't have a high
I don't.
opinion of her. So
I don't think much of Priscilla Presley.
right. Well, she's all about money. So, and she's part of EPE. So obviously, it's very hard to live when you're in constant pain. You will do anything to get relief.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Whatever happened to Dr. We don't know. Him and Dr. Nicopolis. Isn't Dr. Nick dead already?
Yeah, Dr. Nick died.
Yeah, I don't know about the other doctor.
Dr. Nick ain't been dead really that long. He died early 2000s.
Right. Steroids are used for inflammation. Okay, cool. Well, I know that they said something like he had some type of medicine that had a steroid, but it had other other things too to help with his bowel. It was either to control his bowel or to stop him from going to the bathroom, like diarrhea type. We don't quite know exactly what it was for, but he is at inflammation. Jim, is there any truth to the helicopter theory? Dick Grob on the body of the body cards wrote that in a book. I can't find Dick's book for less than $950. Holy moly! What does Jim say? Okay, so Jim, is there truth to the helicopter theory?
I don't think he got on no helicopter. He was
No.
he was spotted at the Memphis airport, ticket to Buenos Aires, Argentina, and there was somebody asking for his autograph, and he even signed it, Elvis.
Hold on.
Right. And I'm gonna say I think Jim had mentioned something like the idea that he left, like some people were saying he left in a camper with a woman,
Yeah, a woman
like
named
a
Maria.
motorhome, and
A
and and drove it to a different state, and then stayed in a hotel or something, and then left the next day on a plane. Then there's other people who said they took 2 pictures of him getting on a government helicopter
I ain't ever seen no picture of him getting on no
and
government helicopter.
mentioned there was a helicopter around Graceland, but I don't know. That would would make sense, since when people hear that, I'm not quite sure. Like I don't know if this book is any truth to it. But Monty Nicholson has mentioned that someone had witnessed him climbing up into a helicopter and took 2 photographs. We're not sure if it's true or not because I've never seen the photograph. So
I ain't either.
1973 was a bad year for Elvis. I don't know. Maybe 72 was bad too because he had dealt with all kinds of heartbreak. But anyway. 73, at least he had the Hawaiian tour and stuff. He looked great. 73.
73 is when he got divorced, wasn't it?
No, 72, I think. So, I've loved Elvis since 1962. I saw a flaming star. Cool. Linda has on her site a picture of a hat that Jesse Elvis sent to her that he wore for Flaming Star.
Yep.
Quite interesting. Guys should check that out. It would be like under a like I think it was last year, the year before, around July.
It's under the section. It's under that
August.
section on her. It's under that section in her on her website
Yeah.
about gifts he had sent her and Tom.
Yeah, but she also had done it again in like the current events. I think it was 2 years ago. I believe it was around August 16th. And she would watch Flaming Star with the hat. I think that's where it is, but it could be under the gifts he had given her as well. Glaucoma eye drops for life. Yeah. Take hydrocodone for scalation. Bad hit. They do not make me high at all. Right. Just be careful because the hydrocodone is very, very addictive.
Yeah.
Jesse, if you see this, thank you for saving my life. You have no idea how much you mean to me and all of us. You know what? I'm going to I can't really screenshot it, but I'll see if I can screenshot it and send it to Linda. And this video is recorded, so this comment will be there. I'll see if I can send it to Linda. I have her messenger on X, but she doesn't always go on it.
I got a screenshot. I'll send it to you here in a little bit.
Right. Right eye not good, but left eye still healing. Wow. Yeah.
Hey, Purple, I had cataract surgery on both eyes. I was legally blind. They did both my eyes. After 6 weeks, I went back. Doctor took my glasses out of my pocket and threw them in the trash. He said, "You don't need glasses. You got 20/20 vision." I said, "Well, I still need something to read with. Everything looks fuzzy." He said, "Get you some reading glasses." He said, "I'm not giving you prescription glasses."
Right. And like
Oh, yeah.
my father had surgery on his eye. It was like his retina surgery and stuff. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
doing better now.
After my eyes healed up, my eyes are great now.
My husband has 6 inches of his colon removed, and he had no bag, luckily. Well, you're lucky. I think nowadays they have something different, don't they, Rita? I think they might do something different now, but I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. They hardly ever give anybody a colostomy anymore.
Yeah,
And
I
if they
don't think he uses a bag anymore either. Jesse
and,
doesn't.
and if they do, they can reverse them today, or years ago they couldn't reverse them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he has them. I don't think he has a bag anymore.
Yeah.
I think he's had something else now.
Right, there's that. Oh, it's a lot.
Huh. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's up with his voice. I'm not sure if it's his voice or his speak, like, pronouncing words. But that's why he hasn't called Linda.
Yeah, I don't think he's lost his voice. I think he just had trouble getting the
Speak,
words out,
yeah,
the right words.
right, or pronouncing words. Because when you have a stroke, sometimes it affects your speech stuff.
Yeah, I've seen people that had strokes and they be talking to you, trying to tell you something, and be saying stuff off the wall. Don't have nothing to do with what you're talking about. Because
I I don't know if he took X-Lax for his bowel problems. I don't think. I think he had. I think he had really like prescription medication because he had.
he he didn't need X-Lax. Hell, he had diarrhea all the time. He needs something to stop it up, and he takes some Imodium or something, not X-Lax.
I really don't know. Really don't know what he took, but I think it was prescribed. But I'm not sure what he took. But anyway, helicopter at Graceland after his death would have drawn too much attention. That's what I think. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say that it made a lot. It would have made a lot of noise, and it would have made the household staff ask questions. I'm hot, and everybody on the fans and everything on the outside would have heard or seen that. But that's one of the theories, so we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, I'm fine.
That's me. Yeah. Okay, well, I hope everything goes well with you. Oh, okay. Ay, ay, ay. Yikes. Wow. I'm so glad I found this page. If I tried to talk to anyone else about this, I would be called crazy. Thank you, Jim and Joy, for getting that message to him. We will try our best to send him that little message. I can't promise you anything. But yeah. And you're very welcome. This page has been open for a year and a half. So we do not know. I don't think so. I don't think he ever remarried. And I don't think he has a girlfriend. If he does, it's a friend that's a girl. Or somebody who
He
takes care.
he he didn't get remarried. He did have a few girlfriends, but I don't think he's
Now.
too old for any of that. Now he's too old for any of that stuff.
Right. He has friends that are girls, but not like a girlfriend or a companion, like that type of thing. He just never married, never remarried. There's an airport not far from the GL. Graceland, right? I'm not quite sure exactly which airport it was, but it was mentioned in there.
Oh yeah. The airport in Memphis is just up the road from Graceland. Ain't very far.
Right. Yeah. Right. So there's a quote that everyone says, everyone will call you crazy. Because they don't understand. They're gonna call you crazy. Much love to Jesse Elvis. He will always be loved. Exactly. We love him. All right. He's left his mark on this world. Yes, Serena,
Yeah.
same here. I told some of my colleagues, and some believe he's alive and others don't. I have a best friend that still, and my mother still thinks he's dead, is dead, dead. Thinks I'm crazy. How often do you go live? I'm new and I don't know. I'm here every Saturday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Every Saturday night. And sometimes I might put a video out once in a while, but very rare.
Oh, you better stop.
Yeah.
In the house. Go. Go. Come on.
That's escape from Elvis said. I'm gonna mute you, Jim, all right, for a minute.
All right.
All right. I just muted him because he was the background noise was really loud. His dog.
I had to put that dog in the house. He was raising hell. Tractor
Yeah.
driving by.
Okay. So I'm going to let's just finish off with laying around and love on you, and you guys have a great night. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and we'll talk next week with another chapter. Next week's chapter is called Elvis's Will, His Trust, and the Push for His Postage Stamp, which we all know there's a postage stamp now. Well, that is what we're going to be reading about next week. All right. So I'm just going to finish with this. All right. And then we'll sign off.
It's 7:30, honey, I don't care. But what you're doing is gonna keep me here. Hey, all I wanna do is lay around and love on you.
You're welcome, Carl.
Well, lay around and love on you. You got me so turned on, baby, I can't turn it loose.
You're very welcome,
Nobody
Randy.
called, the phone is off the hook. And we're gonna try everything in
A lot of
that book.
information.
Yeah, all I wanna do is lay around and love on you. It's 7:30, honey, I don't care. But what you're doing is gonna keep me here. Hey, all I wanna do is lay around and love on you. Well, lay around and love on you.
Definitely a different quality recording, huh?
You got me so turned on, baby, I can't turn it loose. Oh, nobody called, the phone is off the hook. We're gonna try everything in that book. Yeah, all I wanna do is lay around and love on you.
This is one of my favorites tonight. Yeah, me too.
Well, lay around and love on you. You got me so turned on, baby, I can't turn it loose.
The second one is Jimmy Ellis version. So this is Jimmy Ellis like coming together, splicing. Very welcome.
You got me so turned on, baby, I can't turn it loose. Or having fun just to fool it around. We're gonna stay here till the sun goes down. Yeah, all I wanna do is lay around and love on you. Yeah. Well, all I wanna do is lay around and love on you. Yeah. Well, all I wanna do is lay around and love on you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
You want to stay on for a few minutes, Jim?
Yeah.